it's Dave. Welcome back to my guitar channel. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the song Josie and the approach that is used in the writing of this that Donald Fagen uses. Also, that solo that I play in the beginning, that's actually Walter Becker. A lot of people say it's Larry Carlton. It is not. I'm not sure. I think Larry played on the record, but he didn't play the solo. And then later, Larry went and did his own version of the song where he plays it. And I think there are some people who post that on YouTube where they're playing Larry's version, and some people misread that as he's the guy that played the solo, but he wasn't. It was Walter Becker. I think that's like the third or fourth Steely Dan solo I did on here. But anyways, I really want to talk about the approach and how this song, how to look at this song. Before I go any further, though, I am using a friend of mine's G&L. This is a tribute series. ASAT Classic. As you can see, it says Tribute Series. It's a beautiful guitar. I mean, big jumbo frets. The pickups are fantastic. I believe these are the Made in USA pickups. The MFDs that are manufactured right in Fullerton, California. And the bridge, I believe. I mean, everything on this thing, it's like, this is one of the most top quality overseas made guitars. And, I went back and forth with somebody on my page. I will discuss, not in this video, but I will discuss OEM manufacturing. It seems like a lot of people don't have the concept. They think that, like, the factories are owned by the guitar companies. There are some cases that is true. I do know that Schecter owns a factory in Korea, and obviously South Korea is a much freer place than communist China, where it's much easier to get the money out of, so owning a factory could be beneficial. For the most part, those factories are OEM. They're owned by other companies that make the guitars for them. So anyways, even though this says G&L on it, it is not manufactured by G&L. It is manufactured by some unknown to me manufacturer that makes it for G&L. They're licensed to make their product. This guitar is great, though. For the price, this I think is like $5.99. You can find them used anywhere from $3 to $5. This is like one of the best guitars on the market for that. So let's take a look at the song Josie. So I'm just going to show the beginning first because I think it has nothing to do with the song, really. It's just like this intro that they came up with, and it's, So when you get to this part here, and again, I'm really not showing, I don't want to show you you can find this song on YouTube by a million people teaching it. So I didn't really feel like teaching it as much as I want to show you the approach of how they got to where they get to and how they look at it and how you can look at it. So after this, now the reason why I play it in this position, I think it might be played there, but I play it down here because the next chords are open, and the next chords are this F major 9 to an F sharp 7 sharp 9 to a, you could look at this as a D over a G or a G major 9, and then the last chord I believe is a, so I think you would call it an A flat major 7 add 13. So again, those chords are just, and now we get into the song. So the song is in E minor, and he plays it like almost like a G over a like a G type of shape. And so it's kind of like this, like, and so you can think of it almost like a swampy type of blues. And all he's doing is he's changing the approach on how to look at the chords. You know, and most of the, if you play this in a blues, you would play it like With those dominant 9 chords or dominant 7s. And all he does is he takes the chord, so if the bass goes down to a D to a C, he plays the triad off the 5, which makes a D major 9, and this is very common for Donald Fagen because he likes this. He likes those harmonies and likes those voicings. So what ends up happening is you take this and you add a D in the bass. So it's, and you take it from it's from the 5 where you started. So he does that and everything. So it's like, right? There's the G over the C. So it starts with the A over the D to the G over the C. And then he continues that with the G and the F. Right? So there's the approach that he's using. He's changing the chord from being typically a dominant chord to a major 9 chord. He likes that. And that really is most of the chords in the song. So when you got like, so he now he does go to the 4 as a dominant. So he plays like, look at the handsome hooters. Josie comes home to stay with the sleep on the beach and make it 4 chord A7. Roll down the jam. Now here, just look at this as the bass notes: C, G, F, and follow with all the major 9s. So again, he's like, sleep on the beach and make it. Roll down the jam till the girls say when. Now this next one is nice because this next one is just your typical. Instead of having, again, the dominance, it goes to the G, A. Right? So here we have a D over the G. And here we have an E over the A. Making this a G major 9 to A major 9. And that's how he looks at that section. So if you were like, it just makes for a different feel. And that's really the approach that he's going for. So then when he gets to the chorus, there's going to be a lot of 2-5-1s going on here. But what he does is he does an approach chord to the 2. So he's going when Josie, and here's again another one, an F major 9. Same thing. It's a C over the F. So he's playing a G over the E, a C over the F, and then he plays an F7 sharp 9 to a B7 sharp 5 sharp 9, which is but I actually don't like to play the sharp 9 in it because I just like to play up to the G because I think the voicing sounds nice when it's like, when Josie comes home so good, she's the pride of the neighborhood. But then we're going to go to the dominant, an A9. And then here we look at it like we're in the key of G, so it's a 2-5-1 major 7, 4 major 7, back to the key of E minor, 2, which is the F sharp 7, F sharp 7 sharp 9, like a Roman, to the B7 sharp 5 sharp 9 down here. And then it kicks back in, But I wanted to show that how you can relate to these, because if you're sitting there and you're working on and you want to get like a Steely Dan sound and you're trying these approaches, you could sit and just do like a... do there. So it's just that's the approach, how to look at it. As far as how the solo goes, there's so many videos out there with the solo. I mean, I'll just show you real quick. I'll play it real slow, how I do it. It just starts on that. And that's basically the solo. Now, hopefully you can play that slow enough and break those notes down. It's pretty clear. It's not the most difficult solo, but I love the timing is a little wacky, and it's hard to get that exactly where he gets it. There's that other section too in the song. He was like. That's right before then the bass. Anyways, I hope that helps you understand the approach that they use on songs like that. He uses it in a lot of songs. I mean, you can see it like in Don't Take Me Alive when he's like... that whole same thing. It's an E flat here, but he's playing a B flat chord because the B flat is the 5. So whatever the 5 is, you play the triad. This is an F, so the triad would be the C major. This is a G, so the triad would be D major. And then he plays A flat, and the triad is E flat. So it's a lot of that, and it's in a lot of their songs. And I don't think they're necessarily looking at as those types of chords. I don't think he's thinking like he's playing major 9, and I don't think he's thinking in that as much as I think he's thinking about the whole slash chord thing. Because when I watch him play and talk about songs, he tends to do that. Anyways, I hope this helps your understanding of a song like Josie. So it's not that crazy, because it's really, you can break stuff down to really its simplest form. And these are just like simple reharmonization tricks to old blues stuff that they're doing to make it like a pop song. And that's the genius of them. It's like there's some great writing in there. One last thing. I went and saw Laith Al-Sadi, that I talked about him, at the Marshfield Fair, and I snuck up on the stage and saw how he was getting his tone. And of course, I went right on Reverb.com and found the XXL by Tech 21. I got to figure out where I'm going to put it on one of my boards. I love the sound of this thing. It's killer. The problem with putting it on my big board is I already have a buffer on that board, and then I could kind of take it off and use this as a buffer because this is a buffered pedal. And it's a Tech 21 pedal, so I trust the buffer. It's not like a Boss where I hate the buffers in Boss and Ibanez pedals. I just don't like the sound of those pedals, and I also just think the buffers break the sound down. Like you can always tell when I hear a pedal in the chain. This pedal sounds awesome, so I think the buffer is great. Let me see if I can get it closer to the screen. But it finally came in. And yeah, so that's another thing that we could talk about is buffered bypass. One of the reasons I don't like, people will sit and say to me like, oh, you're a pedal snob. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't like Boss pedals, and I don't like. Although I have, I have a PS5 on my main dual rectifier board, but in general, because it just have one. If you're gonna have one or two pedals on your board, then having a couple of them aren't that bad. It's when you start lining them up, because I think the buffers, they suffer sound. I'm not sure what it is with them, but you do lose sound. It's not like the same as having a separate buffer that sounds nice. So you can hear it. I mean, you can definitely hear it. I'm not making this stuff up. When I first started putting a board together back, the very first build I did, I remember I had a Noxious pedal by Andy Fuchs. What is that? A Plush pedals. And I had the Howard Leese flanger, the Barracuda flanger. I had a Budawa, which I still have. I just don't put it on my board. But for the most part, I could hear like tone loss. I could hear that my amplifier sounded better when I plugged it straight in than when I went through my whole rig of all these wires and whatnot. And so I ended up buying a Wampler buffer. And, well, at first I had a pedal that had a buffer in it, and it didn't sound good. I think it was an MXR. Anyway, it sounded terrible. And I was like, his tone was still dark. I took that pedal off. The board still sounded the same. On or off with the MXR in it, it sounded the same. I bought a Wampler buffer, and all of a sudden I got not all my highs back, but I got a lot back. It still didn't sound exactly like if I was plugging it in. What I ended up doing was a friend of mine had the Cornish line driver, and when I used that and tried that, it was like, that's the sound. Well, the difference was you're pushing a few more dB, so I ended up buying a full tone Fat Boost 3, and that was that. And so that solved my problem. So that being said, I use a Wampler buffer and a Fat Boost 3 as a line driver. I have a feeling that this buffer in here might be as good as the Wampler buffer. Tech 21 makes some great products, so I'm curious to see how it's going to sound, and I'll keep you posted. I don't know if I should put it on my small board, only because even though I don't have a buffer on that board, I can move the Wampler there. I have like not a high gain, but I have the boiling point on that, and then I have the Animal by J Rocket, and I keep that a little bit mellower. So I kind of and then I have a Timmy on there for boost. So I already kind of have the sounds that I like for that. This is much more of a versatile, higher gain, even though it still retains that clean sound. I would recommend just looking up Laith Al-Sadi's tone and hearing that pedal. But anyways, this video is getting longer than I want it to be. I hope this video helped. I hoped that you're getting something from these videos, and I hope to talk to you soon. Very good.
You're right on target. You're 150% correct. You're right on the money. Everything you said. You hit the nail right on the head with your comments, what you're saying today.